The Galactic Council's emergency meeting chamber had never been this packed. Representatives from over 300 species crowded the circular hall, their voices a cascade of clicks, whistles, and translated murmurs. High Counselor Zaxtal, with his crystalline body structure reflecting the chamber's lights and nervous patterns, raised all four of his appendages for silence. "We are gathered here," he began, his translator converting his harmonic resonances into standard galactic common, "because the humans have done something unprecedented. Again." A collective groan echoed through the chamber. "They have successfully established diplomatic relations with the Void Swarm." The chamber erupted in chaos. The Void Swarm, a species of space-dwelling creatures that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia, destroying ships and consuming entire stellar systems, was considered the galaxy's most dangerous natural disaster. Not a species to be reasoned with, but a force of nature to be avoided at all costs. Lisa Rodriguez, the human ambassador, stood at her podium with a slight smile. Next to her floated what appeared to be a small dark cloud, with occasional sparks of purple lightning. A juvenile Void Swarm member she had named Sparky. "If I may explain," Lisa said, her voice cutting through the chaos with practiced ease. The chamber fell silent, partly out of curiosity, partly out of fear of the dark cloud hovering beside her. It all started 3 months ago during the Proxima Centauri incident. Captain Mike Torres of the Earth Space Force vessel, Friendship, yes, that was its actual name, stared at his tactical display with growing concern. His ship, designed for deep space exploration and first contact scenarios, had stumbled upon a Void Swarm feeding ground. The massive creatures, each the size of a small moon, were consuming an asteroid field with terrifying efficiency. "Sir," his science officer Dr. Maya Patel called out, "I'm detecting something unusual in their behavior patterns." "More unusual than watching space monsters eat rocks?" First Officer James Kumar asked, his dark humor a welcome relief in the tense situation. "They're dancing," Maya said, adjusting her instruments. "It's a complex pattern, similar to the breeding displays we've observed in space whales near Jupiter." Mike leaned forward in his captain's chair. "Are you saying we've stumbled upon a Void Swarm mating ground?" "More like a nursery," Maya corrected. "Look at these energy readings. Those smaller swarm members. They're juveniles. They're learning to feed." Mike's eyes lit up with that peculiar gleam that made other species in the galaxy both admire and fear humans. It was the look of someone who had just thought of something either brilliant or absolutely insane. "Dr. Patel, remember your research on space whale songs?" he asked. Maya's eyes widened. "Captain, you can't be serious. The Void Swarm isn't like the space whales. They're not even carbon-based life forms. But they communicate through energy patterns, right? And we can generate those patterns with our ship's deflector array?" James groaned. "Sir, please tell me you're not thinking of trying to talk to the galaxy's most dangerous predators using the equivalent of a flashlight in sign language." Mike's grin widened. "That's exactly what I'm thinking. Maya, start programming the deflector array. Let's say hello." The next few hours aboard the Friendship were tense. Maya worked frantically to modify the deflector array, to mimic the energy patterns they'd observed from the juvenile swarm members. Mike stood at the bridge's observation window, watching the massive dark shape swirl through space. "Broadcasting now," Maya announced, her fingers dancing across her console. The ship's deflector dish began pulsing with purple-tinted energy, creating patterns similar to those they'd observed from the smaller swarm members. For several long minutes, nothing happened. Then, one of the smaller swarm members broke away from the group and approached their ship. "Hold position," Mike ordered, even as his bridge crew tensed. "Keep broadcasting the pattern." The juvenile swarm member, about the size of their ship, drew closer, its dark mass occasionally crackling with purple energy. It matched their ship's energy pulses with its own, creating a haunting harmony of light and shadow. "It's mimicking us," Maya whispered in awe. "Captain, I think it's trying to play with us." Mike's smile grew softer. "Well then, let's play back." 3 months later, Lisa stood before the Galactic Council, explaining how humanity's first contact with the Void Swarm had led to an unprecedented breakthrough in interspecies communication. Sparky, her constant companion, crackled happily beside her. "The Void Swarm isn't malevolent," she explained. "They're curious, playful, and incredibly intelligent. Yes, they consume matter and energy, but they're selective. Once we learned to communicate with them, they showed us their migration routes. We can now ensure our colonies and shipping lanes don't intersect with their feeding grounds." But they're monsters," a representative from the Zinthar Collective protested. "They've destroyed countless ships." "Mostly by accident," Lisa countered. "Imagine if you were a parent teaching your child to eat, and tiny creatures you couldn't even see properly kept flying into your child's food. That's what our ships looked like to them. Now that we can communicate, they're actually helping us. Sparky here has already warned us about 3 potential supernovae in populated systems, giving us time to evacuate." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The most feared force in the galaxy had been transformed from a catastrophic threat into an ally. All because humans couldn't resist trying to make friends with anything they encountered. "There's more," Lisa added, causing several council members to sink deeper into their seats. "The Void Swarm has told us about other species living in what we thought was empty space. Beings of pure energy, matter-consuming entities that actually maintain the fabric of space-time, and something they call the light dancers that live inside stars." High Counselor Zaxtal's crystalline form flickered with what might have been a headache. "Let me guess, Ambassador Rodriguez. Humanity would like permission to attempt communication with these species as well." Lisa's smile widened. "Actually, we've already started. Would you like to meet my friend from the Stellar Nursery in Orion's Belt? She's been very interested in learning about solid matter life forms." A soft golden glow materialized next to her, causing several council members to faint, and adding another chapter to humanity's growing reputation as the galaxy's most fearless or insane friend-makers. The story spread quickly through the galaxy. How a human ship named Friendship had discovered that the terrifying Void Swarm was essentially a species of spacefaring gentle giants, just trying to raise their young and maintain their ancient migration routes. How human scientists had learned their language through patience and observation. How a junior human diplomat had adopted a swarm juvenile as a pet. Though Lisa insisted Sparky was a cultural exchange student, not a pet. But the real shock came 6 months later, when the first joint human-void swarm space station was unveiled. The massive structure, designed to facilitate communication and cultural exchange, was built in the shape of a double helix, with human habitation modules on one strand and void swarm energy fields on the other. They named it Bridge of Light, and it became the galaxy's most visible symbol of humanity's unique gift for friendship. Dr. Maya Patel, now the station's chief xenobiologist, often found herself explaining to visitors why humans seemed so adept at befriending even the most alien of species. "It's simple, really," she would say, while Sparky and other juvenile swarm members played something that looked like tag around the station's outer rings. Humans have spent their entire history making friends with different species. On Earth, we domesticated wolves into dogs, turned wild cats into companions, and learned to work with countless other animals. We've always looked at strange, potentially dangerous creatures and thought, "I wonder if they want to be friends." She would pause here, watching the swirling dance of dark matter and purple energy outside the station's windows. Some species look at the unknown and see threat. Others see resources to be exploited. Humans. We see potential friends we haven't met yet. Sure, sometimes it gets us into trouble, but it's also given us some of our greatest achievements and most loyal allies. A year after the Bridge of Light opened, the Galactic Council held another emergency session. This time it was to address a different crisis: the rapid paradigm shift in galactic society caused by humanity's diplomatic successes. The humans have now established communication with 12 previously unknown species of non-traditional life forms, High Counselor Zaxtal announced, his crystalline form gleaming with resignation. The Void Swarm, 3 distinct species of energy beings, 2 types of stellar inhabitants, 4 species of quantum state entities, and even those strange beings living in the event horizons of black holes. And that's just the beginning, Lisa added cheerfully. She was now surrounded by an eclectic group of companions: Sparky, the Void Swarm juvenile, a golden stellar being named Dawn, and a quantum probability cloud that called itself Wave, or Particle, depending on who was observing it. Humanity has submitted a proposal, she continued, to establish an interspecies communication and friendship initiative. We believe that many of the galaxy's unexplained phenomena and natural disasters might actually be unknown species trying to communicate, or simply living their lives. With the help of our new friends, we hope to bridge these gaps in understanding. The council chamber buzzed with discussion. The idea was revolutionary, and typically human. Where others saw chaos and danger, humans saw opportunity and potential friendship. Their persistent optimism and willingness to reach out to the unknown had changed the galaxy's understanding of life itself. There is one condition, Lisa added, causing the chamber to fall silent again. All member species must agree to approach new contacts with an open mind and peaceful intentions. As we've learned, just because something looks scary or acts in ways we don't understand, doesn't mean it can't become a friend. High Counselor Zaxtal looked around the chamber at the faces and energy fields and probability clouds of the assembled representatives. All in favor? He asked, knowing the outcome before the vote began. The motion passed unanimously. After all, it was hard to argue with success, especially when that success had turned the galaxy's most feared phenomena into allies and friends. As the council session ended, Lisa stood with her diverse group of friends, watching the representatives file out of the chamber. "You know," she said to no one in particular, "someone once asked me why humans are so determined to make friends with everything we meet." Sparky crackled inquisitively, while Dawn pulsed with curious golden light. "I told them it's because space is too big and too amazing to explore alone. Everything's better with friends, even if those friends are made of void energy, stellar plasma, or quantum uncertainties." Wave particle fluctuated in what might have been laughter, its quantum states briefly aligning in a pattern that radiated amusement. As they left the council chamber, Lisa couldn't help but smile at the thought of what lay ahead. Humanity had already made friends with beings that consumed solar systems, danced in stellar fires, and existed in multiple states simultaneously. Who knew what other wonderful friends were waiting to be discovered in the vast expanse of space? The galaxy was learning what humanity had known all along. There's no such thing as a monster, just a friend you haven't properly met yet. Years later, when new species joined the Galactic Council, they would often ask about the strange symbol carved above the council chamber's entrance. A simple human hand reaching out to grasp what appeared to be darkness, light, and probability all at once. Below it, in every known language and energy pattern, were written the words that had become humanity's unofficial motto among the stars. In a universe full of wonders, the greatest wonder is friendship. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, a ship called Friendship continued its mission. Crewed by humans who looked at the unknown and asked, "Would you like to be friends?" More often than not, the answer was yes.